Yes, I think the Constitution says you have to be at least 35 to be president. I have never met a 35-year-old who I think has enough life experience. No, seriously, nothing against people 35. I would have said this when I was 35. I have not personally, I'm not saying they don't exist, but I have not personally met a 35-year-old who I think has had enough life experience, had life kicking them in the nuts enough to run the most powerful country in the world.
What's the youngest age president we've ever had?
What?
What's the youngest age president we've ever had? And if you don't know,
I think it was I don't know. You're talking back in the 1800s. I don't know, but the youngest we've had and the longest, I think was Obama. But my point is,
too.
I think a sweet spot, and this is just me talking out of my ass, but I think a sweet spot for president would be north of 50, south of 65. Because you're still vibrant.
Might be willing to go into the 40s.
Well, possibly. Well, again, it would be, look.
So Theodore Roosevelt was 42 and John Kennedy was 43.
Oh, how old was Obama?
I didn't get that because I didn't ask that question.
All right. Okay.
Would you like to restate your question for a better answer?
No, I'm not. It's not that important. And I did say in our lifetime, I know Kennedy was killed before I was born a few years, but
yeah, but I'm thinking I'm just looking in general. What's the youngest age president ever been in the United States? And I think that's interesting. So Obama was 47.
Okay. So still a young.
I mean, we've had these folks early to mid 40s who've left a mark on the country, and a good mark.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I'm not being ageist in either way. I'm not saying.
But I agree with you. 35. If you have 35, why don't you have 75?
Right. The people I've met in my life, it would be a pretty special 45-year-old. But I think 50 to 65 for president, Congress, whatever. Not Congress. I could see younger people in Congress because they don't have the weight of the entire government on their shoulders. But I'm talking specifically about president. I'll just give you an example. I think J.D. Vance is 42. I wouldn't trust J.D. Vance to walk my dog. And it's not because it's just he's never done anything.
I wouldn't trust him to touch his wife.
Not if there's a couch around. Anyway, no, I mean, he's not done anything. I mean, he wrote a book that was mostly bullshit. And then Peter Thiel put him in business and he ran a free market fund or whatever. And then he ran for, he was a congressman in nowhere, Ohio. And I don't mean to offend anybody from Ohio. My mom's people are from Ohio and still live there. But I mean, it wasn't like New York or LA or Chicago or anything like that. And then he got tapped for vice president. But I don't think he's done anything. And I think in order
I honestly know that you have to have super achievements. Well, no, I do think that's why I think someone younger could take the role. There are extraordinary people out there. Obviously, you would need to be extraordinary even to get there, right?
Absolutely.
You couldn't walk off the street at 35 and say, hey, I want to be president. Nobody knows me. I mean, someone's got to back you.
Of course. But I guess what I'm saying is in order to be, and I'm just going to use this parlance, in order to be the CEO of the world's largest corporation, I mean, it's more than that. But I feel like you have to have been knocked down and gotten back up a couple of times. I agree.
You have to hit some pretty hard decision times. You've had to sweat through a few things. And
God, yes. And
the presidency is going to teach you that, but so will any member of government be taught that.
Well,
right?
And age you and I have talked about this. You look at a picture, you take, you figure what? Reagan, Clinton, W, and Obama all served 8 years in our more in our lifetime.